Welcome to BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I'm Captain Nips. Today, we go back to the OILER program, and we find ourselves some Oosik pilots that are willing and hopefully capable of handling themselves on the battlefields of the Aurigan Reach.
Welcome, Commander.
As with all of our OILER program videos here, we have a selection of Oosik pilots who have thrust themselves into the limelight to see whether they are going to be capable enough to make the long trek to the rimward regions of the inner sphere. First up today is Lone Nut. Through some combination of guts, instinct, and dumb luck, Lone Nut has managed to earn a few credits with the Oosiks. He has a penchant for getting caught out of position and too close to his opponents, which has resulted in learning quite a few tricks about how to brawl one's way back to cover, redlining heat, and close to critical. Enough F-ups like this, and you eventually get a reputation as someone who seems to know what he's doing. Next up, Damoon Rules, who I should also mention is the Poet Laureate of the Oosik Irregulars. Who is this daring pilot that we see, who makes his mech move curiously fast, too swift to catch an errant PPC? His foes are sure to feel they've been outclassed. In Dragons, this knight does his finest work. Against him, enemies must fight uphill. But more than fighting entertains this merc, he's also rather handy with a quill. His flowery prose will leave his enemies stunned, while fellow Oosiks work around their back. And down their quarry will be gunned. The pen and sword together will attack. Across the battlefield parts lay strewn, but none belong to he who's called Damoon. Next up on our list of Oosik pilots, Fireside. The best known thing about Magic is his almost uncomfortable obsession with laser weaponry. He has spent numerous personal hours customizing his awesome callsign Backdraft, replacing the small laser in PPCs with 4 torso-mounted large lasers, and replacing the right arm with a second Battle Fist actuator. The other Oosiks are comfortable letting him tinker away, and usually have a pool running on how long until the next time he shocks, burns, or otherwise injures himself while working. And lastly, as soon as we find him, Bjorn. Originally a hunchback pilot, Bjorn is a true space Viking, or so he claims. He's been known to hang his family's battle axe behind his seat in the cockpit and drink from a large mead horn. All we know is the horn smells of mech coolant, and Nips swears he bought the axe at a tourist flea market on Nox while they were on leave 2 deployments back. Several of the older Oosiks swear he's not even from the Razelhag region, but actually an immigrant. Originally a 4SP pilot in an all-hunchback medium lance, an unfortunate incident involving friendly fire from a fellow Oosik's 4P lunchbox cored his rear while they were engaged against a heavy lance. After the engagement, the techs pulled together a Frankenjäger from the remnants of the destroyed hostile lance, leveraging an incredible amount of swearing. He's known to rush in, guns blasting, crying, "Kill them all." So we've got an interesting kind of mix-up here. So Lone Nut brings evasion. Damoon brings evasion and Master Tactician. Fireside, Precision Strike, and Bulwark. And Bjorn, Bulwark as well. So let's get them set up with their rides. So, starting at the bottom, Bjorn's going to be riding a Jaeger mech into the field. Success. Fireside, also known as Magic, is going to be riding an awesome, and we're going to pick the one with lasers because lasers. As soon as we find it, there we go. Which may need to be tweaked. We'll check this in a second. There's a cost consideration to be had here. Damoon is going to be in a Centurion, but not the AL version. We're going to stick him in the tried and true Autocannon 10 variant. And Lone Nut is going to be in a Hunchback 4P. Oh, which, thankfully enough, works out to be almost exactly 25 million C-bills. On the enemy side, as per the OILER program protocols, we will be going to the Heavy Striker Lance, replacing Showboat with Sumo. Today's map for the OILER test will be Big Lock, just for a change of pace. And we're going to do this on a rainy day. Ladies and gentlemen, lock your cockpits. It's about to go down.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
As our prospective candidates for OILER deployment line up on the battlefield. And here we go.
Command interface initiated.
Alright, so just a quick go back over everything here. So Lone Nut brings 3 tactics, 7 guts, 5 gunnery, 7 piloting. Damoon bringing 4 tactics, 5 guts, 5 gunnery, 6 piloting. Fireside, 2 tactics, 4 guts, 8 gunnery, 5 piloting. We're going to probably be leaning on Fireside in his awesome to do a good chunk of work. And Bjorn, 4 tactics, 6 guts, 8 gunnery, 4 piloting, likewise in the Jägermech. So, Lone Nut and Damoon are going to be our screening force while the heavies pull up behind. And I think that given what we bring to the table here, pretty much all direct fire mechs, that we should make for open, favorable terrain and have our pilots get their work done. I think I'll send them over to the left. Let's go left.
Confirmed.
Alright. Nut, if you would,
Copy
and
that,
Damoon. Hustle, hustle.
How might I help?
So we can get Fireside and Bjorn
Got it.
into positions. I think what we'll end up doing, what I'll end up doing with these pilots is rotate into left flank position over here, leading with the mediums to draw attention. And then once the heavies and the assault, once the fatties have posted up so that they can get their proper
Order, Skipper.
bulwark,
Yup.
then I'll pull the mediums back and let the
You have orders.
fatties take the brunt of the fire where we
I
can.
understand. Moving to position.
Eventually going to run into that bit of deep water over here. If I recall correctly.
Heads up. I got a sensor trace.
May not need to move too much further to get the heavies out in front. Think we'll move
Oh, looky. We got more company.
the Jaeger and the Awesome over to here-ish.
Skipper.
Alright, so now that we're in combat initiative, Damoon with his Master Tactician ability, we're going to give us the opportunity to maybe sneak around the corner here. Interestingly enough, he can provide himself his own indirect fire. So that's just weird enough for me to poke at. I don't know that I've ever really done this before. Yeah, so he has a line of sight indirectly with his own LRMs. Spotting for his own LRMs. The enemy mechs, of course, also making fast moves forward. Damoon, light on his feet, takes a single missile hit to the face.
That hit me.
Damoon, don't lead with your face.
Ready to rock.
Meanwhile, Lone Nut's going to come in behind.
Acknowledge.
So this is going to be a very interesting lance to command because with the 2 pilots with evasion and the 2 pilots with bulwark, I could see soaking a very, very large amount of damage. So, we got lots of evasion on the other side. One way to break evasion is to just throw a lot of shots at things. So,
Affirmative,
let's
Commander.
bring the disco death in the direction of this Jenner. Landed a hit or 2, so not super surprised there. Lone Nut's time to dodge. Dancing. Dancing queens. Dancing kings. Everybody's light on their feet this morning.
What can I do for you?
Alright, Bjorn in his Jägermech will position here. And maybe just slightly further in, because what we want to do is turn and plant the feet and commence with the rapid fire. 95% chance to hit with all the guns on the quick draw in the distance. So we will let that go loose. Solid strikes, opening up 2 armor panels on the enemy quick draw, a leg and a side torso.
Reporting.
And now we're down to the fatties. Unfortunately, Fireside's awesome, bringing LRMs instead of more large lasers today, but you work with what you have sometimes when you're in the field. So, what we ask of our OILER pilots is
Locking on target.
make it work, and also make it rain as we bring the LRM swarms in, spreading the damage around a bit.
You're squirming in your cockpit, aren't
Could open
you?
up another armor panel, and back to the top of the order. Here comes the Jenner. Damoon continuing to dodge, doing good work.
You need me to hold still for you? Confirm.
That was Lone Nut that had to dodge. Alright, Damoon in his Centurion. All we really need to do is to get him to
Move order received.
find a new position with a slight move, turn on the quick draw in the distance, spotting a new sensor target. We're gonna no reason not to fire the LRMs now. We've got plenty of ammunition and all the heat scale in the world to work with.
I'm on him.
Solid hit. Solid hit from the autocannon, shearing off the right side of that quick draw. As usual, the opposing force has decided to split their numbers and
Try aiming next time. See what you get.
single file themselves into my death ball.
Skipper.
Lone Nut, I think it's going to move around and take a clean shot on that Jenner, leaving the quick draw for the rest of the team to deal with.
I got you.
He said he's good in a brawl. Let's see if that
Copy that, Commander.
turns out to be true here. And with a light show opening up several armor panels on the Jenner. Incoming fire from the back line of the enemy team. Lone Nut dodging some of it.
My old mama can hit harder than that. Waiting on you, Commander.
Bjorn likes where he is. Nothing difficult about this decision. Stand and fire. Opening up that quick draw. Landing some solid hits. Center torso now open. And getting the knockdown. Guessing Fireside will get the chance to capitalize on this as the enemy victor moves up.
What's the plan?
Fireside, seeing a target in the distance with his tactics of 2, however, actually has a better chance to hit, well, kind of horse apiece. Definitely horse apiece. So, when in doubt, kill targets. And quick draw goes down in a blaze of missiles and autocannon fire. Oosik Lance goes up 1 kill on the enemy team. This Jenner likely going down in the next round. Lone Nut continuing to dodge. Oosiks are light on their feet today.
Orders. You got it.
Damoon continuing to find safety under the outcropping here while unloading on this enemy Jenner. Oh, but the enemy Jenner brought dancing shoes of its own, staying light on its feet and dodging most of those attacks. Still more indirect fire from the Kintaro in the back of the enemy Lance.
Ready to rock. I'm rolling.
Lone Nut continues to dance with the front line of the enemy Lance,
I'm on him.
flinging as much weapon fire at this Jenner as he can. Sneaks a few through, breaks open its right side, taking out a pair of medium lasers and opening up the other leg. Armor is now gone on the Jenner's legs.
I hear ya.
Bjorn doesn't have the best target in the world. Kind of has to just fire at the Jenner and hope for the best. However, we do have inspiration, so we'll spend that now.
Warriors. It's go time.
Lots of shots. So, not many of them have to land, and Bjorn gets the kill on the enemy Jenner, coring it open.
Should have run when you had the chance.
Oosik team cleaning up on this enemy force. The Kintaro refusing to move up to engage, while the Victor slightly more aggressive, firing into Bjorn's bulwarked Jägermech. That's not going to do him any good, though. Fireside in the back with an obstruction, but decent chances to hit. Lands the 2 lasers, and a flurry of missiles come in to accompany it. Largely superficial damage, but causing some instability.
Yep.
Now Damoon looking for an opportunity. For good position.
I'm there.
In the 4-on-1 focus fire on this Victor, Oosik's having great position. Also, Damoon opening up the armor on the autocannon 20 arm of the Victor, doing the Lance a solid and making that a weak point to fire for.
Yup.
Lone Nut continues his mad scramble for position. I think given the opportunity to fire from the right side, we take it, move up on the hill. Despite the fact we lose the water cooling, we can take a turn out of the water. If it gives us a nice chance to carve that arm off. Lone Nut going in for the lasers. Gets the arm. Solid hits from the right side. Explosions everywhere as the arm is sheared clean off by laser fire.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Bjorn doesn't need any other reason than to stand there and fire because there is an enemy in his sights. This Victor taking all of the attacks from the Oosik Lance. Bjorn again catching the knockdown. The power of his autocannons. Dropping the Victor, but the Victor gets back right up. But what will it do next? Stand and deliver. Firing on Damoon. Takes a missile or two, but dodges one.
Reporting.
Leaving Fireside through an obstruction to fire on the enemy Victor. Solid laser hits again. Here comes the flurry of missiles opening up the center torso. Doesn't quite get the Victor down, but does some serious work. Damoon with a chance. To snake a kill of his own. Crossing in front of Bjorn's line of fire. Always hazardous, but turns on the Victor, fires with all the guns. Center of mass with the autocannon, but misses. Not quite confirming the kill. Lone Nut continuing to dodge. 90% of the weapon fire coming his way.
Confirmed.
Moves to confirm the kill on the Victor with only four health left in the center torso. All but assured that one of these lasers hits center of mass. And there you go. Victor goes down to a lance's worth. An absolute barrage of weapon fire from the Oosik Lance.
What can I do for you?
Bjorn, however, left with no targets, now has to find himself something new to shoot at. Charging into the battle, past the corpses of enemy mechs. Dead chassis lying everywhere.
What's the plan?
Well, when you've got a toolkit,
As you wish.
use all the bits in it, right? Fireside moves up and fires indirectly with his LRMs.
Target confirmed.
Since there's little to no cover here, and Bjorn's providing spots, no reason not to rain on that Kentaro's parade. Back to the top. Damoon looking to apply pressure of his own.
Copy that.
It's a long shot with the autocannon, but we've got ammo. And an LRM-10 to provide backup cover. Just under the shoulder of Bjorn's Jägermech, missing with the autocannon, but landing some hits with missiles. Now the Kentaro has to decide how does it want to go out. Apparently it goes out by stabilizing itself on the beachhead there. Lone Nut looking to move to an advantageous position. Up on the rocks.
10-4.
Traffic through the waterway here a little bit tight with Damoon and Bjorn. Coin flips on the laser shot, cresting the hill, firing. Landing some damage on the guarded Kentaro. Not enough to crack an armor panel though.
I hear ya.
Bjorn, however, is in ideal position to continue his barrage on the enemy team.
Alpha strike.
Fireside next up. Just looking to get a position to fire from.
Have no doubt it will be done.
Pulling up the rear of the enemy team. No, that's not at all what's going on here. Pulling up the rear of the Oosik team. With lasers and LRMs on a direct line, clean line of fire. Landing the laser hits and a good portion of the missiles. Cracks open an armor panel on the left side of the Kentaro.
Confirmed. Affirmative.
Damoon continuing to look to do work. Moves up on a slight right flank off of Bjorn's right shoulder.
Here we go.
Landing the autocannon that time into the shoulder of the Kentaro. Working the armor.
Oh, it took some shrapnel.
Bjorn taking a missile to the face. Rule number one about Being an Oosik pilot, learn to lead with your face, clearly. However, Lone Nut
Affirmative, Commander.
has no such thoughts in his head as he pulls around to the right side of the Kintaro, lining up his shot. Good numbers to hit. Lets loose with the laser barrage. Getting work done. Snaking one onto the face of the enemy Kintaro, causing its pilot to shake. In his cockpit, Bjorn continuing to let loose with concentrated autocannon fire. Manages to crack open the CT on the enemy Kintaro, making this match that much closer to an end. Fireside has no reason to move from where he's at, with 95% chance to hit on all the big guns. Solid laser fire to the right side as the swarm missiles kind of collects all over. Multiple armor panels opened up, and the knockdown. Damoon with his master tactician is going to get a chance. Question is, can he leverage it?
Location confirmed.
Moving across the hill, getting close to damaged Kintaro. 67 damage in this, or health left in the CT. I think he'd be foolish not to just go for the kill shot. If the autocannon or some combination of missiles and lasers manages to snag the center torso, Damoon will confirm the kill.
Locking off with all weapons.
And that'll be game as Damoon downs the enemy Kintaro as it's flat on its back. The enemy team completely steamrolled once again by the Oosik Lance. The OILER program continuing to show promise as we evaluate our Oosik pilots for shipment off to the rimward edge of space. 10 rounds, 20 minutes, 46 seconds. Not surprising. It was a very flat map to work with. Superficial damage to the Oosik's Lance, and everyone comes out clean. Although some palliative care may need to be distributed to certain pilots due to leading with their faces. Damoon. Bjorn. The enemy team, on the other hand, completely torn up. Nothing much left of this Jenner. Kintaro getting cored out. Quickdraw getting cored out and obliterated. Likewise with the Victor. A decisive win for the Oosik Irregulars in this training simulation. And that'll be all for today's BattleTech in the Morning. I am, as always, Captain Nips. Enjoying each stream, enjoying each video, enjoying bringing to you the entertainment of giant robots fighting on the battlefields of the far-flung future. But that'll be all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.